Hi everyone, this is daveac and this is my vblog 164 for Friday the 9th of September 2011, and it's not far off the 10th anniversary of a very sad date indeed, and that of course is 9/11, the 11th of September, with the tragedies that happened in America. Particularly people think of the Twin Towers, but there were the other events of the other two planes. So very sad day. So today's podcast is going to be a little bit shorter. It's a sad day remembered and a short vlog delivered partly from space. But I'm going to get on with in less than 15 minutes, and there will be a wine at the end. Well, I always start off with the podcasting news, and it's nearly always about the science fiction podcast. But I just want to mention, because of this, the 9/11 event, that I actually went on another podcast with my good friend Kerry Partin. That's the GC Community Chat. That's Garden City Community Chat. It goes out on TalkShoe ID. Let me get this right. 82757. It went out late last night for me, but it was still the 9th here in the UK, so I could say to Kerry, happy birthday, Kerry. It's his birthday, in fact, still today. And I went on there just to stay a short while, but the conversation quickly moved towards the upcoming event, the memorial, as it were, the 10th anniversary of the tragic events of 9/11. So do give that a listen. The show is also on iTunes, but you can find it, as I say, on TalkShoe. But we'll perhaps have when we drink the wine at the end, we'll perhaps mention that again. But let's get on with the other podcasting news and efforts. Well, this Sunday that went by, it was a really busy day indeed. My co-host, Ian the Sixth Doctor, was having a very well-deserved short family break, and that was in Orlando. He actually went to see the Space Center there with his sons, so he had a lovely family day out. And luckily, of course, I had Mike Randall helping me out on the Colton Collective. Yes, the Colton Collective at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time was talking about the latest Doctor Who episode, Night Terrors. And I hope you'll give that a listen. It's on the TalkShoe ID 54821. You can find it on our Colton Collective blog at colton.com. It's also on the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance page, and of course on iTunes. But that wasn't the end of my day. No, I was helping out Mr. Lewis Trapani of Doctor Who Podshock, podshock.net. Last Sunday, the previous Sunday, he'd been hit by Hurricane Irene and hadn't been able to come on for safety's sake. There'd been power cuts and all sorts of things. So that meant that there was going to be 2 shows from him, and that was the Doctor Who Podshock Live, and then the Hitchhiker's Guide to British Sci-Fi. But it also meant that each of those were doing a double episode. The Hitchhiker's Guide to British Sci-Fi was doing episodes 7 and 8 of Torchwood, and the Doctor Who Podshock Live was doing 2 episodes of Doctor Who, the Let's Kill Hitler episode and the Night Terrors one. So it was a busy day indeed. Just to remind you that those are out on the feeds. But the Doctor Who Podshock Live, which next week we'll be talking, like the Colton Collective, The Girl Who Waited, that will be on their TalkShoe ID of 23358 at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And the Hitchhiker's Guide to British Sci-Fi will be talking about episode 9. Remember, it's going in the UK timing of Torchwood. Episode 9 only aired yesterday here in the UK, even though as I record this shortly on the Friday, the final instalment will be going out in the United States. But this Sunday, probably at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and on the TalkShoe ID 110825, Hitchhiker's Guide to British Sci-Fi will be doing about episode 9. So I rattled along those quickly, didn't I? Well, I've got a few little things to mention, and I'm actually not going to move my camera around. This is the second time I've done this today, but I made a little bit of a boo-boo on the moving my camera around. The camera's perfectly fine, don't panic, but it was so shaky that I decided not to do that. So here we go. Well, some tech and other bits of news. Well, the iPhone 5 looks as though it might be coming out sooner rather than later. It's been reported that they've got a factory churning out 150,000 of those a day. So it's likely that we won't have to wait till next year for the iPhone 5. It could come out as early rather, as sometime in November of this year. So look out for news on that. There's been all sorts of tech news as well, which I'm not going to go into, but just to say, if you put IFA Berlin into Google, it will tell you about the Berlin tech show that has just finished this last week, and there's lots of technological updates from that. And the other little bits of tech news refers to here in the UK. I often talk about television here in the UK, and the main, apart from Sky, the main two delivery systems are Freeview TV over your aerial and FreeSat TV over the satellite. Well, there's going to be, they have made some slight changes to the over-the-air one that comes to your aerial, and they've made room for a possible 5th HD channel. And the bids are, an invite for bids has been made for a new channel to start as soon as April of next year. Now, whether it's going to be channel 5 HD, E4 in HD, or even Film 4 in HD, we don't know. But the bidding system has now started, and we will have a 5th channel on the terrestrial Freeview system. Of course, you've got to have a high definition receiver to get that. The standard Freeview receiver will not decode the high definition signals. Okay, the other two innovations I want to mention are from the BBC. I've mentioned a few changes to the BBC iPlayer and so on. Well, now BBC Radio Labs have got a new beta version of how you can listen to radio. Now, this isn't region locked, but again, I'm not going to move the, well, I'll move the camera around just for this one bit, but it's so shaky when I hold it and I appear to shout, so let's just put it there. It's the URL is beta.bbc.co.uk/radio, and here all the radio channels, and you can highlight them here at the top, and it tells you what's on at the moment on each one. That's going to be the new way, as well, of course, as the iPlayer system, where you can pop out the radio iPlayer. And while I'm here, I may as well just mention another thing, and this is the brilliant BBC Music Showcase, and this is at www.bbc.co.uk/music showcase. And what it is, and I'm going to move the camera now back because it just wiggles when I talk, and that is that the BBC have been trying to find a way of getting more of their archive material, you know, music programs from 40, 50, even 60 years ago, that's not getting frequent listings and airings. Now, this showcase has both video and audio only, and it's got clips in different genres of music for you to actually enjoy and listen. And I'm just going to play a little clip. I said this is partly from space. Here's a little clip from the Proms 2011 selected works, and it's the host, the planets from Prom 70. And there's a little player along the bottom. Let's just hear a little bit of that.
First we have Mars, the bringer of war, Venus, the bringer of peace, Mercury, the winged messenger, Jupiter, the bringer of jollity, Saturn, the bringer of old age, Uranus, the magician, and Neptune, the mystic. Well, the orchestra have tuned up. The lead Andrew Havron is on the stage, and the orchestra will be joined off stage by the women's voices of the Holst singers, so listen out for them. and all will be conducted by the orchestra's principal guest conductor, David Robertson, who we just heard just a few seconds ago.
Good to listen to a bit of that.
He's making his way to the stage any moment now.
Come on, get on with it.
To conduct Gustav Holst's The Planets.
We'll just hear a few bars of it. Expectant silence. Hope you can hear this. Brilliant music. And I'm going to bring the sound down, and I'm going to stop it there. Yeah, I've actually played that as one of the CDs on one of my earlier shows, but the Planet Suite is a brilliant classical piece of music, so really, really good. Now, I'm just going to do a couple of other things, and then we'll get to the wine. As I said, I want this to be a little bit shorter today, because the file sizes to these vlogs with this new camera have been getting very large indeed, and it means I have to recode them down to just get them down to a handleable size. I just want to mention, when I'm talking about slightly planets, two things I want to mention. One is that there's been and you can find this, by the way, at www.bbc.co.uk/news, and this is in the science-environment section. And it's been about meteorites. Scientists have shown that Earth's surface became enriched with precious metals by impacting meteorites, including delivering gold. Now, I was watching a Horizon program, which is a science program in the UK, and it was talking about the Earth's core, you know, the inner and outer core, and how the inner core is mainly molten iron. And of course, it never occurred to me that when the Earth was forming, all the heavy metals, because of gravity, will have been drawn towards the centre of the Earth, and that's why there's this massive central iron core. But it never occurred to me that why so much gold and metals should be found near the Earth's crust. And the belief is, of course, as the Earth's crust was forming, more and more impact was made, but this metal couldn't sink down into the Earth's core, but remained mineable on the Earth's near surface, you know, within retrievable distance. I think there's something like 20 times more gold near the surface of the Earth than one would expect if most of it would have been drawn in by gravity. I thought that was really good. And also on the BBC News site, it's just been announced the astronomer pictures of 2011, and these are absolutely fabulous pictures. So you need to go, well, you don't need to go, I recommend you go to see the Astronomy Photographer of the Year, and there's a little video there which I hope is playable outside the UK, and it talks about all these great pictures that were sent in, and it tells you which ones in the various categories: deep space photographs, photographs of the planets, and so on. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Okay, let me just consult my notes. I think we can go straight to the wine now at the 14-minute mark. Now, there's a little bit gone because I've had a couple of goes at this vlog today. It's Lindemann's, and it's Winemaker's Discovery, Shiraz from South Africa, 2010. And we're going to try and get that focused in for you. Freeze frame, and it's 13.5% from Wine of South Africa. Look at that, rich blackberry with forest fruits and a hint of spice, smooth and full-bodied, it says. Well, it wasn't quite that when I tried it earlier, but the bottle had been in my pantry for some time, so it was a little bit cool. It might be better now. And the fruit was not coming across, but I am getting that sort of musty, foresty floor type of smell that I occasionally get from these wines. But let's have a little. It's a lovely ruby red colour, by the way. Let's have a little taste. And actually, that's already integrating more than it was even 40 minutes, 30, 40 minutes ago. The tannins are a little bit dominant, however. There's not a lot of the fruit. What's the overriding sensation on your palate is the sort of, not oakiness, but the sort of sharp tannins, the sort of slightly dryness to it. And I wouldn't say it was soft and full-bodied. I would say it was slightly tannin heavy. Now, I can drink and do enjoy more oaky wines than I used to, but I would say that's not quite. It might still warm. It's a little bit cold, so it might be better in a minute or two. So it was a £6 wine. That's $9, $10. Reasonable for that price. Certainly going to enjoy drinking it. I'm just hoping it's just going to balance out and smooth out a little bit more as it warms in the glass. And at 16.5 minutes, I think for this week, we will leave it at that. Just a small toast as we head up to the 10th anniversary of those very sad events in America of the Twin Towers and 9/11. Those families will still, of course, be suffering the great losses of their family members. Quite a lot, hundreds in fact, of UK citizens died alongside people from America and many other countries indeed. So, a little toast to them. And their memory. And with that, a little bit of a sombre end to daveac vblog 164. Catch you next week. Thank you for watching.